conducted by the Center for People Empowerment and Governance, a study on the automated elections which they started last year during the ARM 2008 elections. So I'll jump some of the slides so that in view of the fact that we have very limited time, and in view of the fact also that there is a very big interest on the possible problems and vulnerabilities on election day. So let's look at the SIAS 1800, which is the technology of Smartmatic, the precinct count optical, which is a precinct count optical scan optical mark reader. What is important to note about this technology is that it detects the absence or presence of a mark in a predefined position on a form. So it is like the OPEC form, which we shade and which will be processed, and at the end of it, we will know what our scores are. The important part of that text is the predefined position on a form. That means that the printing must be very precise. In Georgia, in the US, in the 2008 elections, they printed the ovals where we will shade our votes. They printed the outlines of the ovals too thickly that the machine recognized them as partial marks. So they were processed as partial marks by the machine. In an environment like the Philippines, which is highly humid, humidity can cause the ballot to expand by 10%, making the predefined positions on the form different from the way that it has been programmed to be read by the machine. If the ballot is too crumpled, the predefined positions will be misaligned. So these are some of the problems with a very precise printing that is required by this particular technology for our election. Okay. So this is a ballot. The commissioner said that there will be 300 names, 150 on one side and 150 on the other side. But what we know is that there will be 600 names, so correct me if I'm wrong, 300 on one side and 300 on the other. That is the maximum, okay? That is what is included in the terms of reference, no? And I don't know for the party list how many names there are for the candidates. I think more than 100 already, just for the party list alone. So I think it is realistic to think that there will be up to 600 names on the ballot, 300 on one side and 300 on the other side. It is included in the request for proposal of COMELEC that the font size, the size of the text is 10 Arial, so it's very small.
600 names?
Maximum.
Almost like asking the voter to start in the
Yes, sir, that is the maximum. But again, it is a realistic maximum in the sense that party list candidates alone number more than 100. So, yeah, it's plus the size is 10. Font size 10. Okay.
How about the listing? How are they jumping? The list of the names, will it be alphabetical in one direction or alphabetical in both directions at random?
It will be alphabetical for position.
Yeah, it will be alphabetical. There is some questions, for example, for the senatorial candidates. If it is alphabetical and the voter voted for 13, and it is alphabetical, and you will void the whole thing, or you void the whole thing. So the commissioner was not able to show pictures, but maybe for everybody to, of the actual, for the ballot in the machine. So for everybody to get a better picture, this is the one that they demonstrated during the bidding. So the machines are built on top of the ballot box, or are placed on top of the ballot box. The ballot boxes will have two compartments, one for invalid ballots and one for valid ballots. So once we insert our ballot into the machine, it will either fall into the invalid ballot compartment or the valid ballot compartment, depending if the machine will accept it or not. So the commissioner mentioned that you cannot, the machine will not scan a ballot that has already been scanned. So if that happens, it will have to fall into the invalid ballot compartment of the ballot box. So there are actually two systems that will run our election. One is the SIAS 1800, which is the DCOS machine, which will be used for counting at the precinct level. And at the canvassing, it will be run by the program Real-Time Election Information System, or RAIS. And our study has so far identified 30+ vulnerabilities ranging from pre-election, election, canvassing, and proclamation activities. The text is, I believe everybody has a copy of the text. plus vulnerabilities, and for each vulnerability, a suggested intervention and safeguard is proposed by the study team and by SecPed. But let me go very quickly over the 7 vulnerabilities we see on voting day. At any point of the voting day, there could be hardware failure. There could be software failure at any point. For instance, when the BEIs try to start the machine, it can fail to start. As simple as that. Okay. Each machine would need to be configured to read a specific ballot image, particularly for each municipality, because each municipality would have a different set of local candidates. So basically as an image scanner, the PCOS machine will recognize a specific ballot image. So each municipality would need to be reconfigured or would need to be configured to read a specific ballot image. It will be saved in the compact flashcard. As per our last conversation with COMELEC and also during the bidding as what was demonstrated, the compact flashcard is slightly bigger than the SIM card. And if this compact flashcard gets nagkalabo-labo yung deployment ng compact flashcard. For instance, the Quezon City compact flashcard was inserted into the Makati PCOS machine. The local candidates for the Makati city will not be read by the PCOS machine. So as simple as that can lead to a possible failure of elections, at least at the local level. When the BEI typed the passwords to initialize the machine, as the Commissioner said, to prove that there are 0 votes in the machine, as what happened in the ARM 2008 election, there could be a failure to accept password or the BEIs forget their password and would need to be helped. There could also be a failure of initialization function, but what we are more worried about is that the machine is not required to prove that there are 0 ballot images stored. It's a different thing to prove that there are 0 votes stored. It's a different thing to prove that there are 0 ballot images stored. So there might be a possible scenario that in the PCOS machine, there are already scanned ballot images stored in the PCOS machine, but which will not be shown to the BEIs and the poll watchers at the initial stage of voting. What will only be shown is that there are 0 votes that were counted, but that at the end of the voting, that those stored ballot images will be counted. Okay, so that's not the initialization function. And we are also worried that the wrong program is installed into the PCOS machine, which Doc Mana will explain in a while. Okay, when we all fill up our ballots, some of the worries have already been raised by our Congress men and women here. Pre-marked legitimate ballots might be fed. It's not like the manual where a single person fills